Hello everyone who's watching the channel. So to the left of us we have a McLaren 750S Spider, and to the right of us we have a McLaren 600 LT Spider. Let's do a quick walk around the two. The 600 LT is volcano red. The car had a list price of $277,000 when new. Then to the right we have, sorry, let's forget that. Yeah, it's the right actually. We have the 750S Spider, which is in Tokyo Cyan. This car's list price when new was £350,000. So, how does a 750S and a 600 LT compare? Let's try to wrap this up without going into too much detail. I do have a full review of both the 750S and the 600 LT on my channel, where those videos are about an hour long. I go into great detail about the cars, their running cost, etc, etc. So let's go straight into it. Performance. The 750S on paper is 0 to 124 mile an hour in 7.2 seconds, maybe 7.1. The 600 LT on the same statistic is 8.2 seconds. So on paper you think, oh, it's just 1 second. So yeah, it's not going to be that much difference. Only a second, that can't be a lot surely. Well, let me tell you now, I've done about 300 miles in the 750S. It makes the 600 LT feel slow. That 1 second is massive. The acceleration beyond 60 mile an hour in the 750S is absolutely uncanny how fast it is. In fact, it's so fast it's scary. It's the fastest car I've ever driven. I've driven Ferrari 296. The 296 and the 750S, I think 0 to 124 are actually pretty much both exactly the same. But I tell you now, the 750S feels the quicker car than the Ferrari 296. And another interesting stat is that the latest Lamborghini Revoluto is the same performance as the 750S. So yeah, they both do 0 to 124 in 7.1, 7.2 seconds. But I think what makes the 750S so explosive in its power is just simply that it's, according to McLaren, it's 750 horsepower. A lot of people think they're actually more like 800 horsepower, and I absolutely believe that is true from living with this car the last few days. It is explosive. I don't want to go into too much detail because I did mention it in my other video of the 750S, but the performance is staggering. It is so explosive. At 4,500 RPM, when it's at full boost, it rips your face off. And if you dare to turn off the traction control, it's very, very hard to put the power down in first and second gear, and even third gear, and sometimes maybe even fourth gear. The 750 is an absolute animal. The 750 feels bigger on the road. So yeah, let's say, so performance, raw performance, 750S wins because it is faster, and it's probably faster. I think 0 to 60, they're both around 2.6 seconds. But this is why 0 to 60 is not really an important statistic, because that car is much quicker than the 600 LT. So yeah, performance 750S wins. Handling, now this is a hard one for me. I think this is why I've never got along too much with the Super Series cars, because they have the really, really cool suspension setup, which means that they can ride like a magic carpet in a straight line, because they essentially don't have anti-roll bars. They use the accumulators, and if you just go in a straight line, they can slacken everything off, and so they ride really good. But I do find that it makes them a bit devoid of feel. You put the, don't get me wrong, you put the 750S in a corner, the initial entry a little bit like, have I got the grip or haven't I got the grip? And then you get it in the corner and you're like, oh my. Through the corner it feels amazing, but you're a little bit left wondering, even though they both have hydraulic steering, the steering feel is better in the 600LT. The 600LT feels more natural. There is a weighting in the 750S, which you noticed immediately as soon as you start driving it if you've driven other McLarens. But at the same time, you do get pretty much immediately used to that steering feel. But I'm going to say steering feel, the 600LT is better. Handling, I'm actually going to say the 600LT is better. I can push my 600LT. I'm more confident, and it's not because I've not had this that long. I think it's simply a case of like being a more passive traditional suspension setup. The 600LT feels more natural. It has a more go-kart feel to it. It handles and it responds how a car is expected to handle and respond. And because of that, it inspires more confidence. And it's not like 600 horsepower is too little for the road. I never drive this and think, oh, I wish I had more power. I might do so, though, now after having this for a few days. So, yeah, it might have been a bad idea borrowing this car. But at the same time, as I did hint in my last video, the performance of that is too much for the public road. I mean, that's too much for the public road, but that is really far too much for the public road. So, yeah, I'm going to give steering and handling to the 600LT, but I'm going to give grip and ability to the 750S, because I think, like, on a racetrack, even though this is an LT car, I suspect the 750S would be quicker. And obviously a lot of that's also going to be down to this. It has a lot more rubber on the road. So if I go to the front tyres, yep, the fronts are a 245 width tyre. If I go to the front of the McLaren, oh, also both tyres are on the same P0 tyres. So it's a very fair comparison. That's a 225 in the front. So you got an extra 20 width profile on the 750S. And then on the rear of the 600LT, we have a 285, which makes the rear quite playful, but very controllable. And on the 750S, we have a 305 rear tyre. Now, I've had the 750S step out a couple of times, but I am not confident enough to actually drive with the traction systems off in this car. A couple of times it stepped out with those systems off. It was recoverable and quite easy, but it also lets go when you're maybe not expecting it, and you always get the sensation the car is struggling for traction even though you're being propelled down the road at a crazy lick of speed. So yeah, the 600 I feel is the better balanced handling car, but the 750S has more grip. I do have track tyres for the 600LT, which is when I do go to a 305 rear and a 235 front, but I only ever run those on track. And yeah, it's an extremely grippy car. So yeah, handling, but grip. But neither is bad, they're both amazing. Steering feel for if you're a driver definitely goes to the 600LT. It just has a much more nice and natural lightweight to the steering with lots of feedback. And yeah, you're getting a lot of maybe feedback that you wouldn't wish to have in a car. But for me as a driver, I want that. Whereas the 750S on the steering, it's definitely geared, even though it's hydraulic, it does seem to be taking some of the stuff out of the steering feel that maybe you don't want to feel in steering. So I get it, you know, for people who want to use it as an everyday car, the 750S is a bit more pleasant to drive as an everyday car. But you can use a 600LT as an everyday car as well, you know. You know, the 600LT rides better than some BMWs and obviously is nowhere near as harsh as a Lotus Exige. But the 750S is truly everything. So performance, handling, grip. Now it's 2-1 at the moment. Looks, I think they both look great, but maybe I'm biased here. I think the 600LT absolutely crushes it. I think it's a absolute straight victory. I really just don't like the headlights on the 720s and the 750s. I mean, obviously I know why they do it because it's function, but there's headlights. They're not supposed to have holes. You know, it's yeah. You know that headlight's all the way back there, and I know when these cars came out, everybody raved a little bit about this whole design because obviously, yeah, it does look different. But now, maybe I'm just a bit more traditional car. It's why I prefer the passive suspension setup and I prefer the regular headlights. I just think, you know, I do think that the 750 does need silver or diamond cut wheels. But I think the 600LT is the better looking car. Volcano Red is also, even though Tokyo Cyan is an amazing colour, I think it's fair to say that the Volcano Red with the black pack on the LT is really crushing it. The diamond cut wheels, great spec, but even if that car was an amazing spec, even if it was the same colour, I'm still going to give it to the 600 LT. Call me biased, call me whatever you want, but hey, let me know in the comments, guys, which one do you prefer the looks of, 750S or 600 LT? For me, it's 600 LT. Right, comfort, 750S. Both cars are quite comfortable, but I am going to give it to the 750S. It's very usable, and having the accumulators that we place on it real bars make the suspension more comfy. It's a better riding car. It soaks up potholes and stuff. Obviously, it's got more tyre wall as well than the 600. That's going to be helping with that aspect of things. So yeah, that rides better. That's got more comfort. However, I am going to say something controversial here. I'm going to open them both up. Hey, both are spiders as well. Let me just, now we hope that I've actually parked these in a fashion where we can get both doors open without clobbering each other. Yep. I'm going to open them both up, get the cars with their doors up, That's the McLaren party piece, a bit like Lamborghini, They really do the supercar thing great. Don't know if Ferrari have any cars where the doors open up. I don't know. Tell me in the comments, are there any Ferraris where the doors go up? Oh yeah, look at that. What a pair, eh? Well, let's go get around the back while the lights are on quick, so you can see what the rear lights look on both cars. Again, I think the 600LT's got the design of the rear a bit more cohesive with the line. Oh, I believe that in the Formula 1 today, McLaren came second and third. Great drive by Leclerc, putting the Ferrari on pole. Great results. So yeah, let's get back to this. Right, my McLaren's got P1 bucket seats in. They are amazing. They are super comfortable. They are super easy to adjust because they only have one form of adjustment, which is just sliding forwards and backwards. But they are so comfortable. Now you come to the 750S, which has got these like comfort style bucket seats. They're not comfortable. In fact, they're quite uncomfortable. I think I could do a long distance driving them, but I've just never not been able to get like totally relaxed in the design of these seats. They don't hurt me or anything, so that's at least a positive. But there is a comfort. But the adjustment of them, the adjustment is the buttons are like wedged down in the side there, so you don't know what buttons do what, and you're hitting all the buttons. So the adjustment of the seats is a bit crazy, really. Both cars have got ample frunks. I suppose I do have the keys. Let's open the front to this one. 600LT. Well, let me actually pull that out and show off my what Bryony got me for a present. And lovely little MSO mat in the bottom there. He got quite a large front there. Fit plenty in it. Hey, we went to the Isle of Man, spent a week in the Isle of Man. Plenty in there. Both cars have the secondary storage as well, if you don't have the roof down. We'll just quickly show you the boot in the 750. I think it's maybe slightly larger, actually. Yes, it is. It's got a much wider opening. So yeah, you're never going to struggle for storage in either of these cars. Both very usable for European road trips. I've had my 600LT now for 2 years. I've had the 750S for 3 days. Done 8,000 miles, done about 300 miles. Both cars have been, well, obviously, I would hope that it's been reliable. It's brand new, but yeah, totally faultless. This one has been absolutely fine, apart from it's needed its aircon sorting a couple of times under warranty. That's it, nothing that's caused any hardship. Fuel on a run, on the motorway, cruising at 70. It's the 750S is still pretty good, actually. You're looking at 29 to 31 miles to the gallon. 600LT being a lighter car, just pip it slightly. You're on a run at the same, about 70-ish mile an hour. You're looking at around 35 miles to the gallon. They're very economical on runs. However, when you're enjoying it, it's very easy to get the 750S into single digits. and you'll struggle to see above 13 miles to the gallon on an enjoyable drive out where you're driving the car reasonably hard. If you're driving it very hard, you will not see double digits. The 600RT is probably 15 to 17 mpg. The 750S does drink a bit more fuel. It has a large fuel tank as well, thank God. Otherwise you'd be emptying it really fast. I also think even though both cars have great interiors, the infotainment system on the 750S is an improvement. It's actually very good, very easy to use. Actually happy to use the navigation now with the built-in system and this. But what I am going to say, and obviously I do not know the options in this car, but I do know it has got I think it's Bowers and Wilkins or Bang & Olufsen on McLaren. It's Bowers and Wilkins. They both got Bowers and Wilkins, but to my astonishment, but this also could be we've been listening to the radio in the 750S, whereas in my 600RT we listen to the USB stick, and I do know that a USB stick is better quality. It could just be down to that, but as it is, listen to the USB stick, the 600RT, the radio sounds better, but I don't think that's down to the systems. I think that's just the music source. So let's ignore that comment. They've both got amazing sound systems, both amazing. Also, the other surprise of the 750S, don't worry, 600RT sounds amazing to us as a driver because of the positioning of the exhaust. The whip cracks are incredible. But a massive surprise about the 750S is how good it sounds. It sounds great. On underpower, off power, it gurgles, it pops and bangs, it whip cracks. It's got turbo flutter. There's so many different noises going on, and they're so totally random. It's not like a Lamborghini Huracan that makes the exact same bum 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 every time you change a gear. You never know what you're going to get. Same with the 600RT, very random, and that this car to passers-by sounds better than the 600LT. To me, the driver, the 750S sounds practically as good as 600RT, but the 600RT does still have it on the whip cracks. They are absolutely menacing in this car when it's hot, but this car is a surprise. It sounds very good. What I would say is the 600LT is still, I feel, is still the best sounding McLaren on the market to you, the occupant, which I think is what matters. So sound, I'm going to say they're both the same. I say the LT maybe just pips it ever so slightly. It is going to start raining soon, so this is going to be quicker than my normal videos, so I bet you're all saying, oh, thank God for that. I think the interior is also more special in the 600RT. When I drive this, even when I just moved it out the garage, feels like I'm getting into something truly special. I don't know if it's because we've got all of the exposed carbon on the interior and the carbon floors, but the dash is a bit higher. You feel a little bit more in a cockpit in the 600LT. Whereas maybe it's because these seats actually sit you high. We have them in the lowest positions, but the seat position is definitely higher in the 750S. But I do believe that obviously you can spec P1 bucket seats in a 750S, and I would definitely recommend that. Not sure if you can get centers in a 750S, but obviously you can get centers and comfort seats in these. But I think the comfort seats in the 600LT are better comfort seats than the comfort seats in this, because these are like some new seat. Don't know, I think there may be a Club Sport seat or something, but not that happy with them seats. But yeah, I'm going to give the interior to the 600LT. I just think it's more special. It feels more special to get in the car, the whole car feel, But neither are bad, both very easy to live with. The infotainment is an easy one on the 750S. I only ever used the heaters and the radio in this car. I don't use the navigation. I don't really use any of the other functions that it has. Oh, I'll go out for one more view of the rear. Yeah, they both look superb. But for me, 600LT is the winner on the looks. Sound the same. And yeah, I think we've covered everything there. But which one do I prefer driving? I think if you want to buy a car, you're going to beat any other car on the road, probably including most motorbikes as well, buy the 750S, because I really don't foresee anything. I mean, the 750S is practically as fast as a Ferrari SF90, but I bet you the 750S has more theatre and feels more explosive for the fact it's rear-wheel drive and it's developing all that power with an ICE engine and doesn't need any battery assist to bring the numbers in. Does it all with an engine that literally sends you down the road at an absolute insane pace just by using a V8 turbo. It's the same performance as Lamborghini Revoluto. It's a touch quicker than probably a Ferrari 296, though. And these cars, you're talking a fair line. The fact is, the driver's going to make the difference because, yeah, they're too close. But you'd need an insanely amazing driver to keep up in the 600 LT with that. At the moment that you get a straight stretch of road, that's just going to pull away. That feels ferocious in power delivery. The 600 LT actually feels a lot more, don't get me wrong, it still has a ferocious feeling, or it did. Maybe I won't think it's ferocious anymore after driving the 750S. But I am more confident in the 600 LT. It feels a smaller car. It feels more natural the way it handles. I'm very happy to boot it out of a corner in second gear with traction control off. And I know that I can control the car, and I know how it's going to handle, and it's giving me great feel. And because of that, I can really pedal it and drive it hard through all the gears. Really confident and aspiring in that way. Whereas 750S, I won't generally even touch second gear, or if I do, and park throttle, I will not floor it in second gear, unless I've got the traction systems on. But then it's kind of like, well, the car's like being a bit voodoo magic, and again, that takes a bit away from the drive, if you ask me, and that. So I prefer the 600 LT as an all-round driving machine, but I cannot dismiss not only how fast it is, but how comfortable it is. One thing I will give McLaren massive kudos for is they don't do none of this babying of the way the power's delivered. There's nothing like in-gear boost. They don't do like what Ferrari do, where they give you more boost in each gear to make it feel more naturally aspirated, and so it won't spin the wheels necessarily so much. McLaren, if you enable ESC dynamic, or if you just turn ESC off, you can light the tyres up as much as you want. You control the torque with your right foot. And I love McLaren for that. I love the fact that you can jump in that 800 horsepower car, turn the stuff off, and turn it into a tyre shredding monster. I'm not saying that, of course, other brands don't do that, but it's just the fact that these cars don't feel torque limited in the lower gears. You can just blow the tyres off. Truly incredible. So for me, I might be a little bit biased. I'd be taking the 600 LT. Plays a big fact that it's also, well, let's think about it, pretty much half the money. And that, of course, these will come down. These are brand new. They're going to come down more. But it's fair to say that probably one of them should always be more than one of them. But there again, 720S values, 720Ss have come down a lot. But 720S is a performance bargain. Because the 720S on paper isn't much. I mean, 720S is faster than a 600 LT in a straight line, for sure. But the fact is, you can get a 720S for not much over £100,000, which makes it the best performing supercar on the market for the money, if you ask me. So there they both are. 600 LT, 750S. Let me know in the comments which one you'd be taking home if you had the option. For me, I'm sticking with the 600 LT. Love the way it drives. I think it's hands down the better looking car. And that, don't get me wrong, they're both amazing looking. We've been in this last 3 days. It gets loads of attention, easily just as much as the LT. People love it. It's British cars for you. McLaren doing great in the F1 at the moment. Shame they didn't manage the pole position today, but they still got second and third. I think that puts them in the Constructors' Championship, either right on top of Red Bull or maybe just past them. So let's hope that McLaren can win the championship. They're making amazing cars, truly fantastic performing cars that are all about the fun of driving. And if you do want a bit more modern, like other cars, you can buy a McLaren Artura. Something I would slip in here, I would take an Artura over the 750S. Simply because, again, I think it's the passive suspension setup and just a I'm a bit more confident in the feedback that I'm getting from the car in an Artura. I just don't think I get along with the super suspension so much. It's taking a bit of feel away that I really want for confidence in a car. Obviously, it improves the ability and it improves the ride comfort. There's no denying that. But for me as a car, I love Caterhams. I love driving Caterhams. So I love a car that handles and responds and feels like a car would feel on traditional suspension. And because of that, I prefer the 600LT, and of course the McLaren Artura uses a similar, let's call it basic, setup. So it makes it feel a lot more natural in the handling. So my advice would be, if you want the fastest supercar, buy a 750S, because, okay, maybe. No, out of the cars today, you can buy brand new. It's the Lamborghini Revoluto. I'm not sure if you can still buy a Ferrari 296, guys, but I would say the 750S is easily as fast as those, if not marginally faster. But what I would say, there would be no doubt, I've driven a 296. The power delivery is far more explosive in the 750S, which makes it more an event to drive, and it scares you more. And anybody who's driven supercars and likes that sensation of holding on and we feel like we could die, I didn't get that in the 296 so much. Don't know, the 296 is blisteringly quick and stupidly capable. It's an amazing car, the 296. Though I think I prefer the looks of it. I'm not that keen on 296 looks. 750 I think wins that. But the power delivery of that is so much more explosive, and that's a 1,400 kilo car. I don't know what the 296 weighs, 1,600, but the Lamborghini Revoluto is, what, a 2-ton car maybe? And if it's not 2 tons, it's certainly 1,800 kilos. With battery assist, its engine is going to be nowhere near as explosive as a V8 knocking out 800 horsepower just by the back wheels. So yeah, quickest supercar on sale today, if you ask me. And the 600LT, one of the best all-round McLarens, if you're a driver, that can be bought. They are definitely the Porsche GT3 RS equivalent product. The 600LT is truly amazing. And the McLaren Artura is a great all-round car. So yeah, McLaren have got some great products at the moment. I could talk forever, but like I say, there are full reviews of both the 600LT and the 750S on my channel. I will try to get an Artura again to do a proper review of one. Because I have had an Artura Coupe for a few days. I'd love to get a Spider, because I think that maybe in a couple of years it could be maybe the sensible option to change to. So yeah, any questions, always ask me in the comments. Let me know which one you would rather take home. But there we have it, 750S versus 600LT. That one's way faster. I find that one more engaging to drive. That one's a bit comfier, etc. That one's better looking. They both sound as good as each other. They both can easily be used as dailies, but more so in the 750S favour. And they both look the part. A massive thank you to McLaren Manchester and for not only loaning me the 750S, but the incredible and fantastic customer service they give in looking after my 600LT. So we'll do one more walk around and then we'll get the cars in before it rains. See, they're both fantastic looking cars. They're both bonkers quick. They both have incredible steering feel, both being hydraulic, but the 600LT wins it for me. And yeah, let's call that a wrap. So we're about at 30 minutes, so it's half the time of a video. I do really appreciate you guys for watching these videos. And as always, it really helps if you could subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up, please. Over and out, and take care.